Welcome, guys. It's 8:30. It can only mean one thing. Another edition of the Man United Agenda. Oh, wow. We're back again. This is becoming a regular thing now, isn't it, guys? Seeing your faces every day at 8:30. Yes, we're back. It's the Man United Agenda. My name's OMONDI. Over to you, Mr. B. How you doing, man?
I'm good. No windscreen wipers being stolen today, so all good, man. All good. Ready to roll. Ready to roll.
Wicked. Rebel, the Irish man. How you doing?
I'm good. I'll tell you, this week has been absolutely phenomenal in terms of Manchester United news. And thankfully, we have a moment to take our breath in and reflect a bit on what's going on, because it's a bit more of a chill storyline today. But still, nonetheless, interesting topics all the same.
I think the whole world is talking about these transfer deals and everything going on. I mean, we're going through a major change at the moment at the club, aren't we? So every player that's sort of mentioned, we really look at and we say, would they fit in, and how are we going to look next season? I think it's really exciting time for Man United. Obviously, well, we're going to bring on Paddy as well. Paddy will talk about how you doing, Paddy.
How you doing, everyone? How are you doing? All right.
Paddy, how are you? How's the day today?
Hello, Mr. Amanda. How you doing? Mr. Rebel? How are you?
We're doing good.
Paddy, we just covered a few subjects today. We've been talking all week about all the transfer news. But today, we're going to talk about Bruno's new contract. We're going to talk about Sergio Gomez from Anderlecht, a Spanish international. We'll talk about Tielemans as well. And finally, we're going to talk about Gakpo, Dutch winger that's been linked to Man United. So I'm just going to start. I'm glad everyone's refreshed and ready to go. We're ready to go in the show. First thing I want to talk about, if we can put the bubble up, is going to be Bruno Fernandes. Now, I'm going to say this. My little intro on Bruno is he came to the club, and from day one, he represented. He was like a duck to water fitting into Man United squad. His stats are really good when you look at what he's giving back, assists and goals. He's talented. He's driven. He puts the work rate in. There's a lot to love there about Bruno Fernandes. But I think the timing of this doesn't matter to me. But the time, I've noticed a lot of people being on his case lately and a bit saying, oh, Bruno, he's not doing A, B, and C. The only issue I have with Bruno is that in the shape that we had under Ole, he was gifted to be a number 10. And sometimes I felt we were sort of struggling at the back. He should have sat a little deeper and built as a team, that kind of thing. I thought he was cheating a little bit, but I think that can be amended because I've seen for Portugal he can play as 8 or 6. But anyway, new contract, goals, assists. He's been rewarded. I think he was given a new contract. I think this is a reward, isn't it? So my question to you guys, I'm going to start with you, Mr. B. Is it a reward? Is it deserved? And would the new manager have any say in this? Think about this, guys, when it comes around to you. Mr. B, reward, deserved. Is a new manager going to have anything involved in this deal?
Rewarded, deserved, yes, 100%. Maybe not so much on his numbers and his performances this season, but definitely, I think without a shadow of a doubt, he's earned it. He's been rewarded for past performances. As I said, I kind of dipped into there. But without him, I don't think, as I said, you talk about the impact that he had. We saw his numbers at Sporting, and you think, okay, Portuguese league, you know, it's Portugal. He's not going to have it. But he came in and there's been no drop-off. The only drop-off he's had, really, has been this season. Now, the whole team has played at a level where he probably feels that he has to be doing more than he should be doing. So I have no problem with him being rewarded. That key question, though, Monday, that you asked about the manager. I said
the
new manager. I would like to think that that's all part of the plan. Remember, I said a few months ago, I think there's a plan going on. I'm hoping that this is part of that plan. It would be so naive and so old. Say old Manchester United if the new manager, whoever he was, whether it was Poch or whether it was Ten Hag, have both said keep Bruno. then that way you're thinking, okay, then it's a decision. Please don't let it be a club decision. But let's be honest, can you see a manager coming in and not wanting Bruno? Rebel?
Well, I think, being honest with you, the interview process has obviously been ongoing over the last month, and I'd say it was probably unilateral that every manager wanted Bruno tied down their squad. And the interesting point that I've seen in the media is that this new contract is going to take him into the top 3 of Manchester United's best paid players. Currently, that is Cristiano on 510k, David De Gea on 335k, and Mr. Jadon Sancho on 350k. Are they telling us indirectly that maybe CR7 might be part of our squad next year? Or is he just being lifted slightly above Jadon to reflect how important he is to the club? That is the
350?
Well,
No, sure. It must be double. Surely they wouldn't be paying him an extra 200 grand a week. Surely.
Well, yeah, I'd imagine he's a key player in terms of our attack, even though some will argue in the comments that he loses the ball too much, that he doesn't do enough of A and B. But look, obviously he's the staple that any manager that comes in wants to build their team around. So is he worth it? Is any player worth it? That's the real question. So I think...
Answer it, Rebel. Answer the question. Don't throw it out there. You answer it.
Yeah, you know I like to throw these little nibbles up to you one day. Get you to commit to a cause and then whack it back at you.
come on now, Rebel, get off the fence. Answer the question. Come on now.
Look, we had this conversation around a certain Harry Maguire. Was he worth the money that he was getting not too long ago? And we brought up all the stats till we were blue in the face. And the stats would have said, yes, he was at the time. Little would we know, less than 7-8 months down the road, we're saying, oh my days, what are we after doing? The reality of this is Bruno, on paper, he's in his goal contributions, in his non-penalty, for any Arsenal fans that are lurking in the chat, contributions have been up amongst the top in the Premier League this year. So you have to reward somebody that is giving you some of the best per game chances of scoring in the league. So yes, he's worth 350,000 in the current market because the wages are getting proportionately bigger as the income that comes into this sport increases. We're not looking at what used to be the case back in Roy Keane's day when the money in the sport was not at the level that it is today.
Yeah. Wow, it's like getting blood out of a stone, but thank you for the answer. Finally, we got it. Paddy, how are you, sir? Is it a reward? Is it deserved? And do you think the manager had any influence in this new contract? And add to that as well. Let's see.
Oh yeah, okay. I mean, I've watched. Bruno was one of Ole's best buy, only best buy in my view. And one thing he did really well, bringing Bruno in, and he played ever so well. Scored some great goals. But you know what? He has, give him a new contract. He may work under the new manager, whoever he is. Hopefully, it's who we want. You know the score, Mr. B. But he's annoyed me with. He's been given the captain's armband. He's complaining, and he's the only man I shouted at the Madrid match when I went, Bruno, for God's sake, walk away. Don't follow the referee for 40 minutes round the field, moaning about the decision that went about an hour ago. Just don't do it. And he's done that, and I've seen him. But the other thing as well about Bruno, which worries me slightly, in those big games, he didn't come up to the fore. Does that mean that he gets frustrated when he's kicked? He gets his moans and groans. But I haven't seen him in the big games come up to the fore, and that's the standard of a great player, that you come to the fore in those big games against City and Liverpool. I don't think he's done that. But I'm glad. Give him the new contract. Yeah, give him a chance with it. Yeah, of course. That's past performances, Mr. B said, but not probably the lot this season. I'm being a bit disappointed. That's all. Just slightly.
He'll be back. He'll be back.
All right, can we cover this, please? Because the numbers are still pretty good. What's wrong with him this season? I don't see anything major, a drop off like Maguire, for example. Maguire was good last season. This season he's dropped off badly. I don't see that drop off with Maguire, with Bruno. Can you guys enlighten me?
Monday, it's attitude.
Especially you, Paddy. Paddy, you go to the games. What do you tell me?
I've seen him. His attitude. He looks round. What's going? He's moaning. Then he looks at Ronaldo in the Villa game. And goes, the Man City game. Can you get the ball? I can't get the ball. And then we look at each other like, I don't know, two statues. I don't know. It was just. I just watched him and went, can you get the ball? I can't. Man City were passing around them, and I thought it's just his attitude. He goes, and then followed the referee around the pitch, asking, "Can you give me the?" In Europe, referees don't give you nothing. They give you nothing. And I kept quiet all game until I went, Bruno, just walk away, please. So I think it's attitude, or he's frustrated over something, and I don't know what it is. I just don't know.
So are you saying his form's dropped? Because you haven't mentioned anything about his ability here. Yeah. You're talking about his attitude.
I think his form's dropped as well. Is everything, and he's just got lost in games. I don't know if he's losing a bit of hope. He's getting involved in stuff, and it's just dragging him down. I don't know what it is. I think it's the whole team thing. Maybe it's put again with him. It's made an impact on him, and his form's just dipped. It wasn't like last season when he was scoring those great goals from free kicks. It isn't. It just isn't happening this season. I'm hoping for next season he comes better, because I don't want that slide. And they gave him the captain's armband again. You learn by, when you're a captain, you learn by example.
Yeah.
So that's my view on it.
You two, do you want to add to this about his form? Because they're like I said, Maguire's definitely dropped off. It's evident. We can see that in his with his form, mistakes, everything else. I agree with Paddy. Maybe there's an element of attitude or not showing on the pitch, and Paddy's got first-hand experience being at stadiums. But what do you think about this issue about people saying he does not deserve and he's getting booed a lot lately? Has his form dropped, or do you think it's just a system or the whole club? What's going on with Bruno?
I think it's a combination of everybody's bad form. If he was performing exactly the same way, but that everybody else's levels were higher, I don't think it would be an issue. I think because we as supporters are frustrated, he on the pitch must be more frustrated than we are, because they train with these guys every day, and there must be a level that they get to in training. Now, whether or not that's being portrayed on the pitch, we always say, Bruno's losing the ball. Maybe it's the rest of the team. Like on Monday, he used to talk about the young guy from Arsenal, Odegaard, and you were saying he was a good player. He was just ahead of the rest of the Arsenal team, mind-wise.
Yeah.
Sancho, when Sancho came to us, again, you said maybe he was ahead of the rest of the team. Now we see the real Sancho, and we've seen what he's able to do. Maybe there's been that drop, because a lot of those players are playing like they don't give a shit. And maybe Bruno's one of those players who actually is giving a shit, and that's what's getting him frustrated.
Yeah.
Mr. B, you're saying maybe. What's your opinion? What do you think Bruno's form has dropped off? You watch every single game on the watch-alongs, and you're commentating on it as well.
No,
do you think
it's just
what
he's just?
Rebel, I want Rebel as well to add to this about people saying he loses the ball. And there's a stat to say he gives the ball.
No, I don't care that. I don't care. No, I don't care about that, because the giving the ball away part, I really have no issue with, because he's been a creator. You look at Trent. Trent's lost the ball more times. All right, it's 1 and 2, but Trent, again, everybody talks about his assists. Nobody talks about how much he loses the ball. He's lost the ball more times than Bruno this year. So it's more the creative part of it. I'm not interested in how much time he loses the ball. Yes, it does get frustrating, but he's the only player in the team who's willing to look for and make that pass, see the pass, and have the balls to make it. Because when it comes off, we're all here thinking, oh, he's done it again.
Is it right for him to be the only creative force then, for everything to be played through him, that he gets away with giving the ball away? Rebel, what do you think, finally, on this issue about his form, losing the ball, as Paddy was saying, his attitude? What are your thoughts on it? Come on.
I think it's important to bear in mind one thing about Bruno Fernandes. Since he came to the club, we were throwing him out there every game in, game out, and hoping that he was going to drag us through the game. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer didn't have the luxury of resting him at any point whatsoever. in his first season at Manchester United. And we saw the effects of that towards the end of season once the toll of that took effect on him. Again, then the following season started brightly. We were throwing him in every single game. League Cup, FA Cup, Champions League, Premier League, he was playing them all. And even when there was opportunities to sit him on the bench, for whatever reason, we didn't have the faith to put Danny van der Beek in there and give him a run and utilise our squad to the degree where we're keeping these players fresh. And I think dips in form do come when the burden is put on you and you're expected to deliver. And when you don't, then every single eyeball in the stands is on you and asking, well, he did this in all the other games. Why didn't he do it for us this time? But there probably are elements of the game that would frustrate people that do like to see a more controlled, more cohesive style of play in their midfield. But I think it can't be done without saying that our midfield probably in a large number of games probably got overran because we weren't functioning as good as a unit. Like, we have seen rises in performance in Bradford Fred, for argument's sake, Solo's number one buddy. And you have to ask yourself, if he's rising in his performance, why is Bruno's suffering a bit? Because you'd say, okay, he's getting a bit more help. So there probably is elements of what Mr. B was saying about the people around him not rising to that level. If maybe the likes of a Sancho or Rashford were coming in and picking up the end of that ball, maybe there wouldn't be as many lost balls and we wouldn't be complaining as much. But it's difficult to see until we see that change in personnel, whether it's a Bruno thing or whether it's the people around him not reading what he's trying to do.
Fair play, fair play.
I'm just say, Monday, sorry to come in there about Bruno. You know, and Mr. B mentioning there about those incision passes. I went to the Leeds game at the start of the season, which was we won 4-0, and Bruno was brilliant. He put those passes in. I just haven't seen that since.
But Paddy, can I ask you, what do you think that was? Do you think that was a positioning thing? Do you think it was the fact that we were playing Leeds, who everybody knows play with their legs like this in every game? Or do you think that he, first game of the season, it was that whole, excitement of everything? What do you think the drop-off's been?
I think we had Mason Greenwood, bless him, on that in that team that day. It was brilliant. I think Bruno was obviously work. I think he was first game of the season. Everyone was up for it, and Leeds we've demolished Leeds, even though they got back in the game. But I think in that game, I think Bruno was on it in his own, really, in his element. How he's knocking those balls in. They really all cohesive. They were really cohesion. Do you know what I mean? They really did. They really did. They really came together in that game. But it was just the last game, really, that I thought I saw Bruno's incisive passes during that game. That's the last game I can remember, really, which is quite sad, isn't it?
I think about these passes. There's got to be movement ahead of him, and they've got to be on the same page. So you could sometimes just look at a guy and get that pass going, and it's for more familiarity. I think being off.
And that's a point, isn't it, on Monday? But he had Mason Greenwood ahead of him, and he was always quick, wasn't he? Bruno loves those passes into those quick players. Maybe we've lost that, haven't we, since we lost the young lad?
So there's been varied views in the comments as well, but the one I just want to talk about. So Cavani's on 300k. They're saying Sancho and Varane are both on 350. So what is Bruno going to be on, guys?
I'll be honest, on Monday, I thought it was going to be 240 because I thought he was going to double his wages. I can't believe that they're really going to pay him an extra 200 grand a week.
I just want to ask everyone in the comments quickly. Just give me, is it deserved? Does Bruno deserve a new contract? Is he the guy to going forward with his new manager and our new generation? Just put your comments in there quickly. We're going to move on to the next subject, which is a few transfer rumours going around with some talented players. And one of them plays in the Prem is the young man called Tielemans. And we know, did he score a lovely goal in the FA Cup final? Was the FA Cup final? He scored a beautiful goal.
That was me, bruv.
Or was it? And he scored a good goal against us as well. But anyway, Yuri Tielemans, young guy, he started at Anderlecht, funny enough. We're going to go talk about Anderlecht later on in the show. And was signed by Monaco. He was always touted. He was like a 16, 17-year-old. He's playing first-team football for Anderlecht. He's always touted as a top player. Signed by Monaco. Monaco got a lot of funds. They do sort of make good deals like that. They even had not Jay Rodriguez, who's the Colombian left-footed guy from Porto. They signed him at one period of time. He was with Everton last year. What's his name? Whatever his name is, the left-footed one.
Aren't you supposed to be the quizmaster?
Oh God, my head's gone. Yeah, I'm on the spot right now. You know what I'm talking about? World Cup top goal scorer. Oh God, it doesn't matter. It'll come to me. Anyway, so Tielemans has gone to Monaco now. Didn't really stay there that long. Quality player for sure. He's moved to Leicester. Leicester took a punt on him. And as Mr. B was saying before the show, they spent about 35 to 40 mil on him, which is quite a lot of money and quite a gamble, really, for someone who hadn't proved it, apparently, in the Prem. There's always this myth about playing in the Prem. There's a step up or some players are not suited to it. He's been suited to it. That's clear. No one can argue about that. He's an all-round midfielder. He can do a bit of everything. Like I say, he's talented. He's got that drive as well. My question to you guys, so obviously we've all seen him play. We all like him. Is he an ideal signing for us, for one? Apparently, he said the other day, there's two quotes. He said he wants to play Champions League football next season. So that's a question mark. And also, apparently, as the big statement says there, Tielemans available for £25 million. That's very cheap in football terms, isn't that? Isn't that right? So he's young, he's got drive, he's got technique. He can manage it in the Prem. Is he an ideal signing? And the price, with that price, and would you be sort of going all out for him? Over to you, Rebel.
Well, the reason why he's believed to be available £25 million is that Leicester are believed to be in financial difficulties with an expected pre-tax loss for the next financial year of 33.1 million, which could mean that Rodgers is going to have to dispose of assets in order to balance the books. We're hearing this a lot in football lately, that the books need to be balanced and clubs are being forced to sell assets. Barcelona had to do it, and now it looks like Leicester may have to do it. At £25 million, I think, given his success in the Premier League, you cannot argue that he doesn't represent good value. But a comment that caught my eye was from our very own TalkMU. He's saying that if we do manage to secure him at that price point, we are going to end up forking it out on the wage aspect. Now, before we would have been obviously afraid of the agent fees that would be commanded, but with the changes that's coming there, that probably isn't going to be so much of a distracting factor. But would he be worth 300k a week in our wage bill? That is what we need to ascertain. And will he fix the midfield issues that we have? Is he, from a attack point of view, in 110 games for Leicester, he has 20 odd goals for them. So he's not exactly a prolific goal scorer, but would he add a bit of solidity in that midfield kind of pivot role? That is the question. And I'm not sure, is he that type of player? Is he another type? Is he a better version of Fred? More that he'd be the link between your Bruno and your anchor. That's the way I'm starting to feel about him. I'm not sure, would he actually dramatically improve us, or would he be a rotation player with Fred going into next season?
I like that one, actually.
Yeah. Pogba's leaving, as Diz Miz Mob says. Pogba's going, so we do need to fill that gap. What do you think about Tielemans and the value, price range, and his value for money? And what do you think of him as a player? You must have seen him a few times live. Paddy?
Yeah, my apologies. I think you talked about my man. Sorry, man. Yeah, I think I'm really. I don't know. I can't really answer this one. I have seen him, and I speak to the Leicester boys up the road here, because I'm not only up the road here, to be fair, but the Leicester lads up here, and they like him. They love him. I think he's a great player, but I just wonder, will he make us any better than we've got now? And do we need better than Tielemans? I know he's 25 million, but I want to step up a bit more than that. And Pogba, if he does go, I want someone probably a bit better. Is he better than we've got now? I don't think he is, and he's a great player. Scored against us in the season, didn't he, at Leicester? He's a good player, definitely. I just don't know. I've got a real funny feeling about it. Maybe not for me. No.
Mr. B. Paddy's cast down in your mind. I've noticed.
Yeah, Yeah,
He's a good player. I mean, he's
no, I mean the thing is, okay, Amonde, I understand he's a good player. What position at our club would we be getting Tielemans to play in? The price, no problem. 25 million, that's the price they set. That means that he's going to be going for 25 million. But in what position would you be playing Tielemans? If we're playing in the 4-3-3 that we've been playing in, the team needs a holding midfielder. We've then now not going to buy a holding midfielder because it won't be Tielemans to buy a player to replace who? Paul Pogba. And this is the part. This is my worry. If we're going to build a team, you need to start with the positions that need filling first. And we know for the last 3 years we've needed a certain position, and we still haven't bought it. I just don't feel Tielemans is. If they're going to do Tielemans plus somebody else in the same week, so that we're not thinking, oh God, then fine. But
okay, but the thing is, we're going to lose Pogba. Who's better than Tielemans then? Just throw out names, because it seems like Tielemans is not the player you guys are making him out to be.
No. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong.
Who's better than a player that's
no, don't get me wrong. I don't have a problem with Tielemans. My issue is, where would he be playing in our team? Is the problem. I don't.
You look. You have what do you call it?
So
there's two of yours problem solved.
Okay. So he's going to be playing instead of Fred. Now the other issue would be McTominay playing as the holding midfielder, then, or are we saying Tielemans is playing the box to box instead of Fred? Because we also Bruno's going to be starting. So this is what I'm saying. I want to know what part of the Manchester United midfield puzzle is he going to be in?
You know, I don't like pigeonholing players. If it's an old school 4-4-2, you're centre midfield. Doesn't mean you can do it all. It means you can do it all. You can defend, you can go forward, you can do that should be part of your game. And I'm fed up with people, oh, he's an anchor man. Oh, he's a DM. It's like people playing Championship Manager or football. It's like you can't pigeonhole players. That means you're not very good in my eyes.
Okay, then.
Tielemans to me is a universal, all-round good midfielder, centre midfielder. I've seen him play deep. He's playing for Belgium, international level, for Leicester, playing in Europe as well. I've seen him play a really good game. You can't get a ball off him. I've seen him play against top teams and boss midfields and play really talented game. And you're talking about defending. It's not like he's a hard tackler or anything like that, but he positions himself well. He's learned through the Belgium schooling. He knows how to play his game. He's got good positional sense. So I think he's a cultured all-round midfielder. That's something that's really nice.
Matic? What is Matic?
Matic is a cultured all-round midfielder.
He's slow. He's a slow midfielder.
He might be a bit slow, but he's cultured. On the
ball. Are you saying that Matic is not a holding midfielder? Matic is a complete central midfielder.
I prefer players that are complete midfielders, not being pigeonholed as one certain type of big game. You need to be able to have a bit more to your game than that. A bit like the guy from Leicester, the Nigerian guy that we were raving about. Yeah, indeed. He sits back. He plays it pop, very simple passes. But when it comes to playing a different game, a more attacking game, maybe he hasn't got that. But Obi Mikel, for example, he came to England as an attacking midfielder. Then he's so versatile. He ended up playing deep as the kind of anchor man. You see what I'm saying? That's the sort of player I'd want. Somebody who could do it all. And Tielemans, I think, fits that bill.
Do you know, Monday, you actually raised a point that I was going to make. I was going to say, if we brought in Tielemans and had him next to Bruno, I think we would need an Ndidi type to be the third man in that midfield. That would sit that bit deeper.
That's what I'm saying. A specific role. That's what I was saying, Monday. A player who has a specific role in the team that makes everybody else play their specific roles. That's what I meant in regard to. I understand what you're saying about a complete midfielder. I was just saying, I think we need a man whose job, and he understands the role as taking the ball from centre midfield to centre back, showing so that they've got angles to pass instead of hiding behind the player. That's what I meant by a player who understood the role more.
Before we go on, let me just read his comment from Bath Times, and I think we're on the same page here. He's saying you'd have to think with Poch and Ten Hag, we'd not be using a number 10. That's Bruno, for example. He'd use 2 number 8s and a 6 behind them, a bit slightly deeper. And Tielemans, he says, would be one of the number 8s alongside Bruno. So maybe the 6 wouldn't be a straight DM, I don't move, I just stay in my position. I would prefer someone who's a bit more balanced, who can do a bit more than just a standard pop it, keep it short sort of thing. Paddy, you might say something?
Yeah, I'm going to say, what do you think about? Do you know I would take advantage, because I can't stand Chelsea, by the way. I could take a chance at Chelsea's woes and go get Kante. What about throwing him in the mix? I do think
isn't he too old? Isn't he too old though? And why are we going for?
He's a lovely holding midfielder, though, isn't he? He does a good job as a holding midfielder behind. I think he's good. I know what you're saying about old again. We're on Dad's army again, Mr. B.
See, there you go.
I know, but he'll never be Dad's army. He is quick. He is quick, boy.
And he knows his role.
Is he pigeonholed as a DM? Or I've seen it because since Jorginho's been there, he's been playing as number 8, maybe.
Yeah. He's steady Eddie, isn't he? He's steady Eddie.
That's a good player.
Do you know the players that should be targeting? And I think back time is probably in tune with what me and Mr. B are saying. Are your Declan Rices, your Kimmiches, your Ndidis, your Jorginhos, your Frankie de Jongs. It's one of those will need to come in to do a role is beside a Tielemans and a Bruno, if that's going to be our 3-man midfield, I think.
Yeah, Frankie de Jong. Good shout.
All right. So Tielemans, that's for me, it's a yes. With the right,
I'll take him. I will take him.
I'll go with him.
I will take him.
Yeah.
We can't see you, Rebel, but what are you saying with Tielemans?
I take him, but I need that other player as well. I'll be honest with you.
Okay. So next topic we're going to cover. Before we do, there's 9 people watching right now. Make sure you press the like button right away, please, before we move on. Otherwise, we're not moving on. I'm going to sit here and protest like that.
Just briefly, not the next topic, but a big story in football, and one that we'll no doubt be talking about at arm's length next year, is there will be 5 subs in the Premier League. It has been confirmed.
Okay. Do you want to say hi to Chris? He said he would take traffic cones over our CM. Anyway, 17 likes. Let's big them up, man. Let's get to 20. Let's get to 30 before the show's out. So what's the next topic that we're going to be covering here? Because there's more gossip. Let's chew on it. Boom. All right. I'm going to start this off. Gakpo. Now, I'm going to make my... I'm just going to... Because I've been looking at this today and I'm thinking, oh, my God, what are we doing? Gakpo, 22-year-old. 6'2", very tall. He's a winger, apparently, but I think he can play all across the line. Plays for PSV in Holland. Always been there, growing up through the academy, that kind of thing. But he's known, obviously, to Ten Hag because Ten Hag battles against him in that big Ajax and PSV derby or the big game that they have out there. Talented guy. Someone of you guys on the panel, I'm sure, will give me all the stats about him. But let me just say this: he's what we've got already. We bought Sancho, we've got Martial, we've got Rashford, 3 guys there, and then we've got Shawshire and Elanga, 3 guys who are right-footed that play off the left and come in and can play sort of striker, but not out-and-out strikers. To me, I've been watching him a long time now, and because I've seen a lot of players interested in him, and to me, he reminds me of Diaz from Liverpool, they've just signed from Porto. He's really fast, he's got good feet in a way, he's big, strong, and wiry in a way. And he's young, but this guy's younger, a lot younger. So Gakpo, he's been tearing up in Holland right now. He's actually getting caps now for international side as well. I think he's a good player. But because he's right-footed, and we've got so many of those players at the moment, inside forwards, who play off the left, I just think, why would we be identifying him? Now, you know me, I scout Europe. I've got a little bit of knowledge of young players. I love watching these young players coming through. There's another guy at PSG, and his name is Nani Maode or whatever. He came from Spurs a few years ago, and we tried to sign him. Don't know if you guys remember. We tried to sign him from Spurs. Now he's left-footed, and he plays on the plays for PSV as well. He's left-footed and plays on the right, exactly the position that we need. We talked about Anthony. We talked about Musa Diaby, the guy from Leverkusen from PSG. So these are the positions I think are more vital. So when we're talking about Gakpo, I'm thinking, hold on a minute. I watched the under-21s the other day. Ghana was playing, and he had this guy from the left-footed British guy as well. He's English, playing, and he was looking magnificent. Driving forward, he's got skill, he's powerful, good runner. he just, I just think, but he turned us down. So I'm thinking, is this a thing where we keep getting turned down and let these players go to clubs where he can get the games and game time? And now he's increasing value. Because if he would have come to United at 18 or 17, 18 at the time, maybe he wouldn't have got games. But so Gakpo, I'm like, yeah, he's a good player, but we've already got similar players at the club. And what would that do to Elanga and SHAH, that sort of player? And then we've already got Rashford and maybe Marco coming back in. And I'm thinking, look at Nani, the English guy, who's at PSV as well, but plays on the right. I would look at him before Gakpo. Anyway, you guys, let me know about Gakpo. What info you got?
16 goals, 15 assists in 37 games. But my issue, for a winger, he's tall. He's 6'2".
Yeah.
So if he's willing to do the work and he's got that sort of physical attributes, then yeah, I mean, obviously bath time, I know bath time likes to know about players' defensive work rate. I'm not sure it is the best, to be honest. So before bath time goes and had a look, I understand his work rate isn't good. But I got a quote from Theo Janssen, who was a Dutch midfielder. He said he's got a fine feeling for the ball, good through balls. He's dribbling, he's good between the lines, and he's going to be an important player for the Dutch squad moving forward. He said there are other options, but he's the best that they have. But Baston, on the other hand, is saying that he should stay in Holland for another 2 or 3 years so that he has a basis of learning his trade first before he goes. So there's two contrasting ones there about him. But my thing is his height. For a winger at 6'2", I just think bloody hell.
The interesting thing for me is, and I've been looking at this because Arsenal were also interested in this player, and there's a former PSV Eindhoven winger, Kenneth Perez, says that moving to Arsenal would be a perfect fit for him. A bit like you, OMONDI, I have concerns over the fact that he would be a left-sided wing, considering it looks like Sancho is starting to nail that place down for his own. And at £42 million, how much of our budget would that represent if we were to commit that to him for a position that in reality is far from the biggest priority that is in rebuilding that squad? I would favour looking at the right-hand side a lot more. I would favour looking at our central midfield a lot more. And ultimately, I would favour our centre-back issues and our striker issues above looking at a left-sided midfielder. Not to say that he wouldn't be an asset, but at £42 million, I think, given the risks that are there, we have seen players transitioning from the Dutch league before, turning out like Ruud van Nistelrooy, and we have seen players turning out like Kezman. I made it in reference to other players from the Dutch league, and I'm making it again in respect to Gakpo. I'm not sure he is what we need, even though he could be a quality player.
And congratulations quickly to Ruud van Nistelrooy. I think he's just got a post as PSV manager. So
brilliant.
He's done legend, I think.
Legend.
Paddy, over to you.
Yeah. I think I'm just thinking back then to when Louis van Gaal took over. Unfortunately, when he did get to, he went and got Memphis Depay, and I thought maybe, and look, it's having that chat then. Maybe it should have waited a bit before coming to United. That didn't work out. Maybe, like you've just said, maybe this lad Cody needs to stay in a PSV for a bit longer before he comes into the Premiership. And I think Mr. B just said that quote there, and I think that's a better right. That's a better shout for him. I think Arsenal pick him up. Be the same problem for them, I suspect. That's my view on it. But also, we have got other positions. We have got that position tied down quite well. And those they have really. But the other positions is very important that we need to fill. We do. And I think this is one we don't need to fill the position, in my view.
Yeah, just to going back to what Rebel was saying about the Dutch league and transferring those skills to the Premiership. Remember Alfonso Alves? He came to Middlesbrough, I think it was, from the Dutch league, and he was smashing it. He scored so many goals, Brazilian guy in the Dutch league, and only scored 10 maybe in about 50 games for Middlesbrough before he went to the Middle East and his career dissolved. Vincent Janssen as well, says Box. Remember him at Spurs, left-footed striker, didn't really kick off. And obviously Kezman as well. So it's hard to gauge. I mean, then we look at players like Ruud van Nistelrooy. He came here and he, who was talking about? I want to dribble over Rude Van Nistelrooy. What a player.
Yeah,
You know?
that's a marksman, boy. He was
the quality. He was
as
up
they
there.
would say, the fox in the box.
original, man.
It's true. He did score a lot of goals from inside the box, but what a player. I think I've heard the other day that during his time at the club, 5 years maybe, he only won one title. So I don't know. I thought we were going to kick
do you,
him there.
I want to just on that. So I know we've drifted completely off. Do you feel it's better to have one single striker or a partnership?
What now with the way the systems
Well,
are set up
well,
now?
just
It's
not even
fine,
systems.
say partnership, but now I think
don't you think they
striker.
can? But why did it go to one? It's a completely different
I
show.
think the partnership now is in the three.
I prefer
if you can't have
partnerships.
like a Tony Cottee sitting up front on his own in this sort of day and age system, that striker needs to be a bit like Harry Kane, big, strong, Lewandowski's type, or who's the Norwegian guy, Haaland. You know, these guys, you have to have a certain kind of characteristics to really fill that role. Strong runner, big, strong, can hold it up. That kind of thing. These little strikers like Tony Cottee, where would he fit into the 4-3-3 these days? I can't see someone like that really fitting in.
Martial up front didn't work, did it? I mean, obviously, I was a bit of a no-no with him anyway. You know what I mean? It didn't work, did it? It's a striker, but it didn't work out, did it?
To counterpoint, though, the strikers on their own, though, if you look at Haaland, if you have a Sancho and a Mahrez, a Sancho and a Salah, a Sancho and any of these type of players next to them, they're going to be
unselfish. It's unselfish. Those are the right. You need players to understand their roles and players who want to play their specific role in the team. Sancho's role is not to score goals. Sancho's role is to feed the centre forward. And he's starting to understand that. If he gets his opportunity, he takes it. But you have to be unselfish, and that's probably why Rashford, to a certain extent, couldn't play or can't understand that role. His is all about scoring goals. You know, so we need to be finding players who want to assist more. That's what I'm feeling in certain positions on the pitch.
Can I ask a question? Gakpo is being 6'2". Do you think he could transfer to becoming an out-and-out striker as well one day? Because he's got the height. He's a bit wiry as well. Do you think that's the goal for him?
Why? Go on, I'll let you go, Rebel. I'll let you go, Rebel. Oh, thank you very much.
Go on. I think we have a delay.
Why do we need to convert? Why do players need to be converted into other positions? If that's what he's come out to, play him in it and find somebody who can play the centre forward. Leave him where he is. If that's the role that you're going to come in, you're coming into the club as playing. Play that role. Don't be converted. We don't need multifunctional players. Apart from in central midfield on Monday.
I'm going to come to that point though. If we didn't have players converting, would we ever have seen the best of Thierry Henry?
Yeah, I'm going to say about bed to mention him. Yeah, it came as a right back from Juventus and then ended up front.
Right back. Henry. He played left
right back. Left wing.
He came as a right back, didn't he?
No, left wing. Left wing.
Was it left? No.
Can we? This is a great time to sort of move on. Before we do, to press the like button. 10 people watching at the moment. But we talk about versatility of players that can play in different positions. There's one guy now who's the next subject we're going to talk about, and this is a Spanish player, Gomez. Now I'm going to speak highly about him because I followed this guy for a long time now, and we talk about versatility. This guy's a number 10. This guy is a number 10 strictly. Okay, so Sergio Gomez, he's come through the Barcelona academy, and I'll just name someone else. Remember Dani Olmo from Spain? He played in Euros recently. Sort of Dani Olmo plays for RB now. He also came through the Barcelona academy. He ended up leaving there early, a bit like Xavi Simons, who went to PSG. A lot of people leaving, like Fabregas left as well. PK left to come to us. So this Dani Olmo, he left, went to Zagreb, and now is playing. And you think, why would he go to Croatia? Got game time, and now he's playing for RB. He played in Euros and was really good. It's the same as Sergio Gomez now. Gomez, I've been watching him a long time now. He came through Barcelona Academy, and then he got signed by Dortmund. He played with Dortmund too, and then only played 2 games with the senior team, and then he went on loan. Now, this is the number 10. How I know about him so much because of the international setup for the Spanish teams. When it comes to youth international setup, they're really good. And I think do you remember the big win for England in the under-17s in India in 2017. They played Spain in the final, and Sergio Gomez was one of the better players. We had Foden, we had Angel Gomez, we had Brewster up front, banging goals. A lot of really good quality players, you know. And then they were running up there. Then they ended up being the winners of that same year, the Euros 2017. Then at the under-19 level, he won the European Championships as well. So when it comes to Spanish level football, youth level, he hasn't really had senior caps yet. He's smashed it. But he's playing as a left winger, number 10. That's what he's got. Now, I know Mr. B could talk about his height because he's 5'7" and quite light, but he's been playing left back. He went on loan to Spain from Borussia Dortmund, and he had 65 games playing for Hoosha or something. I can't remember. I'm
not going to say, but I know they had it on TV. I know you're talking about.
Yeah. So he played a lot of games for them, and that's how he got his real experience now, because most of it was like international level. And now he's been signed by Vincent Kompany at Anderlecht, and he's killing it at playing as a left back. Now, you might think left back as a former number 10, or like you said with Omri, left winger, now playing a strike. You know, he's been converted. He's a very talented player. He's got it all, you know. So playing as left back, he's getting a lot of assists. If you go and look at what they've been doing this year, playing balls across 6-yard box. We rave about Tielemans, but he gets the overlap. He can just looks up, chop a man in half if he wants to. A very simple player. Plays across the 6-yard box, and they score a lot of goals through him. You know, so he's had a lot of assists. Now, when I heard that we were interested in him, I didn't realise he's playing left back. I thought, oh, another number 10. Why would he need that? But today I've been looking at him. Wow, he's really been converted, and he reminds me of Jordi Alba. He's like that sort of stature as well. So we look at Jordi Alba and think he's a great left back, but look at his stature. Will he make it in the Prem? But he's a class player, you know that. So Sergio Gomez, we've been linking with him today, and I like that in a way because he's young, he's talented, and he's also Anderlecht, which means he wouldn't be that much of a big price. But he was only signed this season. So over to you guys, Sergio Gomez.
All right, 11 assists he's had and 5 goals in his 32 games this season. So from left back, I understand now the formation, maybe the formation that they're looking at. These players are really important now, you know. So they have to know their role. Again, they have to know their role. If you're bringing in somebody who's got those stats with that creativity, then you're obviously looking to be on the front foot. I mean, he's very, very quick. You were talking about Alba. Obviously, he's not Alba pace level wise, but he can move, you know. And the fact that he's got the vision to see the passes already, then I think, you know, that might be something interesting. My thing again is just the height. That's all. 5'7" and 9.5 stone in the Premiership as a left back. You know already the Burnleys. You know what the Burnleys and those certain teams. You know what they're going to be doing to him and who they're going to be targeting on their set pieces. So that's the only part of that. But if that's what we're looking at, I would have rather been looking at it on the right side, because then you understand, okay, it's forward thinking. Because if they're looking at it on the left hand side, I mean, what price tag are we talking? Does anybody have a figure?
I got no idea.
Really?
Well, with the fact that he's only after signing with Anderlecht, I'm pretty sure you'd probably be looking somewhere in the 30 range if they're looking to hold the player at their club.
But do you know what, Armando? I was going to say, if it's anything like Alba, who I adored, I think he was a class left back. If he's anything like that for me, I'm not a big fan of Luke Shaw. I know I shouldn't say this with Tellez. No way. Tellez, I love it. Tellez position play at Madrid was like, I don't like Tellez either. So I want that position to be filled, but we need the right filling as well. But definitely the left back. I mean, I was having an argument with the mate in the gym about left back. Luke Shaw was the best left back. Was he player of the season last year? I think he was. I don't know who voted him there. I just don't think Jordi Alba. If he's a Jordi Alba type player, God, I'll have him tomorrow. I really would. Oh yeah.
The interesting thing for me is Mr. B referenced height. And with your left back position, how many left backs do you expect to do an aerial defensive job in corners? You would think that would be the job of your centre backs and your number 6 and possibly one of your number 8s to come back and pick up the aerial threat. So his stature in terms of height doesn't bother me too much. As long now as he's fully transitioned to a left back role, my fear with players that play multiple roles would be we have John O'Shea 2.0, who's a bit of a jack of all trades, is comfortable enough, will do a job for you, but isn't spectacular. And what we need is someone now to nail down that left and right back roles for themselves and be competent. And if this guy, who's only spent his first season and got 5 goals with Anderlecht, kind of continues to,
11 assists.
Continues to grow the way he does, then yeah, of course he's worth a look. He's only 21. He's not had much underage Spanish football exposure in recent years in the under-21 team. I think he's only made 5 appearances for them. But you have to look at the value for money aspect and the risk. He is coming from the Belgian league. It's not the greatest league in the world. You'd maybe say, could Tielemans or one of these guys do what he's doing in the Belgian league due to the quality of the opposition? So there is an element of risk with this guy when he comes to Premier League football, or when he would go to any of the other top leagues. There, you are looking at making an investment without knowing what you're going to get out of him.
But you know what, Rebel? I think you said picking up, heading the ball. There's nobody. No one's heading the ball at that defense anyway. The left back's going, I'll head the ball if you two can't. You know what I mean, Blake?
Actually, the last left back I remember heading the ball was Patrice Evra.
Oh, yeah, superb. My favourite player. Yeah.
So they're asking what the bleeding story is. That's Del Boy. The story is we're talking about a couple of transfer targets. Gakpo from PSV. Gakpo, sorry. What's Leonardo DiCaprio? He does this film, does he? About I should ask the actor. What's that film from Leonardo DiCaprio where he plays the guy Gakpo? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Gatsby. Sorry, I'm getting confused with that. So we're talking about Sergio Gomez. We're talking about Gakpo. Got that wrong, haven't I?
Before he gets flustered, a big hello to our sister channel, the Army TV, who are in the comments. Thank you very much for stopping by. And we did see that you had your rebuttal to the Monsignor solo this morning. I'm sure he'll have much to say when he's back on tomorrow.
Just to add to that, I want to say hi to Tony as well. Yeah. They done a tribute today on David Rocastle, who died 21 years ago.
Rocky, bless him, Rocky.
I don't know if you guys remember that goal he scored against Schmeichel, where Brian Robson dived in. He got cut in half, and Neil Webb tried to bounce him. He got bounced off, and he shot from outside the box or chipped the keeper. No, but overall, just a class player. And I did a tribute on the show. We went on for about 8 minutes. I couldn't stop talking because Rocky was one of my heroes growing up. What a great player.
You couldn't stop talking on Monday. Surprise. There
you go. I can't claim that I'm going to make you feel very old on Monday. I was only 7 when he retired in '92, so I can't claim to remember too much about him. But I am going to
Monday. Bit of ageism coming here, Rebel. Come on now. I might be 75, but I don't look my age. I'm telling you.
Just quickly, we talk about players like Evra. You talk about Evra just now, but Paul Parker. I think Paul Parker was better than actually. Remember. Yeah. What a player. Yeah. And Dennis Irwin, obviously, as a fullback as well. But Paul Parker, you play centre back. You talk about height here, Mr. B. I know you've got a height issue. You've got a height issue going on. Paul Parker, he must have been your hero. Yeah. You know, he was 5 foot nothing like you, and he played centre back.
He played for QPR. Mr. B played for QPR. You can believe it. 4'2". He was the original Hobbit.
Oh dear. And here, David Rocastle, what a player. Yeah, so even though we're Man United agenda, we do applaud and salute great players like that. So big up to the Army TV. And great stuff, guys. So on that note, I think we're going to wind down now. What's we got on the menu for the rest of the week? Mr. B, I think you've got a show tomorrow night, haven't you?
You've one more.
Sorry, Rebel, go on.
We have one more. Gary Neville's 5-point plan.
My God. Yeah, go ahead.
Just to go briefly into it now, I think you have the notes of what his plans are, but this is the one that I thought stands out of all 5 of them. He's asking the Glazers to do 2 things that will not be pleased because it's going to affect their pockets. He wants them to stop taking dividends, and he wants them to sell £500 million worth of shares to fans so that the debt can be cleared.
Well, Gary Neville, I think he's pro Man United. That's one thing I think maybe we can all agree on. He's run football clubs, he's run good business. I know a guy who works at Sky Sports and he gets along with Roy Keane. He's the security guy when they come in the thing. He meets Andy Cole. He's always telling him, oh, I do all these players. But the one player he says he can't get close to or can't get anything out of is Gary Neville. He said Gary Neville's really quite professional, a bit too professional. And you know, sometimes you'd be like, come on, mate, you're right, mate. How you doing? Have a laugh. He doesn't do all that. He's very rigid, you know, and a businessman. And I like his attitude in a way, Gary Neville. So Gary Neville's 5-point plan goes at this: stop taking dividend out of the club, build a new stadium, and destroy Old Trafford. Don't know how you feel about that. We destroyed Wembley recently, and Wembley's never been the same for me.
Can I just?
Yeah.
Go on. I'll let you finish. No.
All right. Let me finish first. So selling the naming rights to the new stadium. So it might be called the Emirates or Saudi Airlines or whatever. I don't know. It could be something new. Dispose of the 500 million shares, as Rebel was saying, to remove all debts and sell them to fans. So the fans will feel incorporated, part of it all. New state-of-the-art training ground and invest 100 to 150 million a year in sporting projects. That's Gary Neville's 5-point plan. What do you think about that, guys?
One issue comes to mind straight away. I don't know how true or how false it is, but I did read something about them wanting to deal with the land outside Old Trafford. So whether or not that means they want to build, but where's that money coming from? Just out of curiosity. You talk about naming rights. The Glazers again won't be paying for a stadium. They didn't pay for the club, and now they're not going to pay for a new stadium, but all the land that the stadium is on. So then we're still going to, they will be, even if they piss off and sell the club to whoever, they're still making money from the club because they own the land. So the Man United would be paying rent to the Glazers. Come on, man.
What would happen is, apparently the story is that the development land that is around the encompassment of Old Trafford would be disposed of to developers who will then obviously develop their hotels and whatnot and profiteer off it to basically fund the cost of rebuilding a stadium and rebuilding Carrington into a state-of-the-art position. But as you said, that leaves the Manchester United asset book all the poorer. Sure, we'd have a lovely, beautiful stadium, but we would be then probably possibly playing in the Paddy Power Post Velodrome. And
while we're talking about beautiful stadiums and all things beautiful, just want to say hi to Miss Melina. We love you in the Man United agenda. One of the day oneers. Miss Melina, we're having our anniversary party, first year anniversary on Monday. Hopefully you can join us, because I remember as soon as I joined, I know Mr. B would say this, you were there giving us all the support, and you've always been loyal to us, even though you're an Arsenal fan. But we love you, and we appreciate all the kind words and all the support you've given us over the years. Yeah, plural. Not plural, I mean singular. 1 year we've been going. Big up and all the support.
And
Monday, can I come on to that plan? I mean, one thing that really enraged me, I know, and I'm probably being, I think Old Trafford's a heritage site in my opinion. There's a lot of history, and to see it be demolished, as Gary said, and build a new stadium, even have new stadium rights, it does hurt me a little bit. I know we've got to go into the future. We've got to think about the future, and the Glazers making money out of it as well. I'll be quite annoyed, but it really would be hard to take if they demolish the stadium. I'll be quite upset about that. Really upset.
But I think I'm not being disrespectful to Manchester or anything like that. But the area around the stadium, it's like, remember, I just think smog and warehouses and it's run down.
Yeah, Larry, but the days of Larry,
clean. It's just rough. It's really rough. I don't know. I'm not being disrespectful. I've seen.
They must look. Real Madrid, I put a big bloody roof on their bloody stadium, and they didn't have to knock it down. So there has to be a way. Tottenham built around their stadium, so there has to be a way where Old Trafford don't have to get moved. You know, it's going to take more than we know that, more than a liquor paint and a bit of concrete. We understand that, but these people make bridges that stretch for 10 miles, for fuck's sake. You understand? There has to be a way that they can. Sorry. There has to be a way where they can leave it where it is. And I know, they were. I know. Some people won't, but I know on Monday. Those days when we never had nothing else to watch but BBC One. Sorry. Yeah, I would like to think there's a way that they can redevelop Old Trafford where it is. And this naming rights thing, dear God, please. I know it's a money issue, but it's Old Trafford. That's what it is. Everybody knows it as Old Trafford. Exactly. I would hate to think that the name was being changed.
Yeah. I'd just like to make my closing point before
Paddy,
you go
can I
on.
ask you a quick question? Sorry, Paddy, you know, around the area, do you think there's another location near the stadium where they could rebuild a new stadium, or would you keep it where it is at the moment?
I'd keep it where it is, and it's quite interesting. The good idea about, you know, building around it, like as Mr. B said, that's probably a better idea. If I can go with that. And I've just seen Bath Times comments about it does need the South Stand leaking roofs and stuff like it. Does need. You're right. I can't get away from that. The rats, leave them alone. They're okay. You know, but the
I'll
South
think to say about the Liverpool fans.
But the South Stand need. It does. You're right. It's you've got the bridge that comes over, but it's a bit of character there. I will let hate this, but you're right. It has to be a bit. There is a bit of area that you can probably build around. Definitely, it needs probably modernising. Definitely, if I go with it. But yeah, I think that there is a bit around there. Definitely, but you know, it's character in the Old Trafford. You couldn't change that. No way. You couldn't give it the what is it? What did Newcastle say with their when he took over? What did he call it now? Not St James's Park. He called it
Sports Direct Arena or something.
If you did that for Man United Sports Direct Arena, that would be no way.
No,
terrible name.
Just mean it because the Old Trafford's got that world renowned title around the world. The whole of the world knows it as. Don't demean it. Don't drop it down. We need the standards rising. We don't need it going down. You know.
Just to make my closing point, firstly, Paddy, if you're not aware of this, Mr. B has been put under a swear jar and he's going to fund our Christmas party there in December at the rate he's going. But you mentioned that there's just a few things. You mentioned the train track issue. There are a number of GA stadiums and there's a football stadium in Ireland that had to deal with the presence of tracks when it was being redeveloped. There is ways and means of dealing with that. Lansdowne Road has a train track and Crow Park has a dart running behind it. So there is ways of dealing with it.
Has what running behind it? What?
Crow Park, it's a massive GA stadium. It's 80,000 plus.
It has what running behind it?
A dart, which is a light rail system. Railway.
God. What do you call it? A what?
A dart.
Dart? Is that what it's called?
That's what it's called, yeah, the dart.
I've never heard it. So is that like a tram? Is that like a tram?
It's a smaller version of a train, like there'd be 2 or 3 carriages on it. And it would be operating around the city. But there is ways and means of dealing with train tracks. There is stadiums that have those plans. So if we wanted to build in Old Trafford site, it can be done. But the more important part of this, Gary Neville's plan is pie in the sky, unfortunately. The Glazers are not going to stop taking a dividend. They are not going to disseminate their ownership and get rid of £500 million worth of shares. They are not then, having done that, going to put £100 to £150 million a year of their own money into the club for the benefit of the squad and enhancing the squad and the youth players that are coming into the academy. They are not going to invest in rebuilding Carrington, having done all that. And the only thing that they might do is, if they could coin off it, is rebuild Old Trafford and pay for it off a naming rights. But let's call a spade here. The Glazers are not in it for the plan that Gary set out. If he wants that, he's going to have to come along with a consortium and whoosh him out of there at a massive cost.
Absolutely. Because you know what? The Glazers are like Putin, immovable. They'll just stay in there, solid in that. They're not moving. They need to be pushed out, elbowed out the way. You know what I mean? That's what they need doing.
We have some democracy. Let us vote. We have for the Glazers or bring someone else in. I don't know. I think, but I do like Gary Neville. Like I'm saying from the start, I think Gary Neville, for him to come with something like this, it makes you think. Even myself, I didn't know dividends and all this kind of, I don't understand all this terminology, but he knows what he's talking about, and maybe it raises a few eyebrows for some. But I think the main thing which fans would like about that is buying shares. We discussed this the other day. Having a bit of ownership of the club, taking that back and having a feel decisions, that kind of thing. Because at the moment, it's just like it's a vast difference between us and the boardroom. We don't not get a say, and we have to sort of riot and to do all kind of things just to get noticed these days, you know. Anyway, on that note, there's 11 people in the comments. Can you please press the like button? Melina, you as well. Don't run away without pressing the like button. Matthew Bassett, Box, Halftime, TalkMU, Anthony Herbert, Richard Herbert, and there's a new guy, Diz Mob. Yeah,
Diz not new. Diz Mob's been here. Because you don't take down notice of it. Diz Mob's been here, man. We've been chatting all week, bro.
And everyone, Tony Silver Fox as well. The Armory TV, big up all you guys as well. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Make sure you share this to your friends. Tell everyone how wonderful we are, and don't forget our birthday coming up. We're just learning to walk, you know, 1 year old, just learning to walk and talk. Some of us, and and we're growing as a channels, and we really do appreciate everyone who's on board with us and sticking with us and loyal to us. And we appreciate you as well, Paddy. Paddy, thank you. Welcome to the team. Recently, new member, but yeah, we love you, Paddy. And
before you sign off, don't forget the preview
5-year
show tomorrow.
Paddy, please.
Before you sign off, don't forget the preview show tomorrow at 8:30. And Mr. B has a fine takeaway menu lined up for you at 10:30.
10 o'clock. 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
Okay, so 10 o'clock tomorrow, and we got a preview show. Obviously, we're playing Leicester this week. Can we get behind the team? Are we going to win? Are we going to pick up points? Arsenal will play away at Crystal Palace on Monday, so we have to wait, see what happens there. But yeah, it's on now, and the hearts are racing. And
my heart's mended now. That 2-week break has mended my heart that they broke.
Have you missed it, guys? Have you guys missed it before?
Yeah, you know what? I've missed the excitement of the game, but I haven't missed the cussing for that hour and a half.
All right. Well, we'll be back on Saturday, obviously with the game, and don't forget, like we said, 10 o'clock tomorrow. Preview as well at 8:30 tomorrow as well. So looking forward to it. God bless you guys. Thanks for a lovely show. Thank you to my wonderful guests.
Thank you.
Standard, they've got seats here already, and we'll be back tomorrow evening at 8:30. Later.